I just assumed it's something on the agenda then. Because
Okay.
time just keeps on going.
Understood. Thanks. Yes, sir.
James Kowalski, South 29, West 27326 Green Lane. How many acres does this property consist of?
10.
10.
Yes, sir.
And you've got the buildings on 1/4 or less of it?
I would say roughly a quarter. I mean, I think if you look at an aerial photograph or what or not, I think the baseball diamond's roughly a quarter. The rest of this operation is on roughly a quarter, and about half of it is the wooded area. I think, does anybody else look at that? Isn't that pretty close?
Okay.
I think.
The point that I'm trying to make is we have to determine which do we need more, a baseball diamond or a fire department with a standalone building and the public works department taking over the fire department space. I think that's a viable way of doing it, but to continue the trend here to put it all on one corner of the lot and treat this baseball diamond in the park as a sacred cow, I don't think that's gonna do it. I think you should utilize the land you got. And if you need a park, go out and buy a farm field somewhere, soccer field and baseball diamond, let her go. You know what I mean? So,
We hear you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Cassie Orowski, I'm not a resident of the town. I'm a firefighter EMT, this is my second year here.
Address, please.
2927 Silvernail Road, Pewaukee.
Thank you.
That being said, I do not live in the town. I can speak to how frustrating it is to be that firefighter that lives 20 minutes away.
Real close to the microphone, please. You've got something
Sorry.
important to say. We want to hear it.
It's very frustrating to be the firefighter that lives 20 minutes away and takes 20 minutes just to get my foot in the door of the station. That being said, as a response time show, it takes more than my commute here to get to the address that the incident is at. Also, because I will say I am 18 years old, I'm currently in school for firefighting and will be getting my paramedic license. That being said, I would like to say, be the future of this department. I've been recruited and approached by other departments, both living quarters that have offered me the opportunity of being able to do my job where 20 minutes here, can't get on a rig, can't do what I'm supposed to do, and it's not only frustrating for me, but frustrating for the residents, I know. To speak with the generator, our key fobs work primarily electronically, as so do our garage doors. So if the power were to go out, which it has while I've been here, how would I get in? How would we pull a rig to get there? It's scary for me to think about, and I can't imagine what it's like for you. Also, I've been a cadet in this department. I'm now a member of the department, well, working on being a member. The department has been loyal to me and helped me through my schooling. I have every intention to grow with the department, but I can't grow if the department does not grow. Thank you.
I heard everything you had to say, but I didn't hear that part about being recruited by another fire department. I didn't hear that. Thank you very much. Who's next?
Good evening, everybody. Andy Oshani, 1702 Sycamore Drive in the city of Waukesha. Thank you for your time tonight. I have a couple things. I've been on this department a little over 4.5 years, and with the generator, it's unheard of in a fire department not to have a backup generator. I've served with other communities before I moved out here. We're one disaster away, okay? coincide with the car insurance? Absolutely, everybody needs it. Why can't we have a backup generator? The doors do not open when we have no power. These doors are heavy, a couple 100 pounds a door. How many people have tried to lift up the garage door at home when the power goes out? You pull the little cord and it goes up. Anybody see how tall these doors are? I'm 6'2", I can't reach that cord. It takes 3 or 4 firefighters to open up a door. There's manual chains that we can use if they're working okay. There's Band-Aids on a lot of stuff at the station, there really is. You know, this is a big facility. This could be a great emergency management. I've been on departments where natural disaster has hit. And the capabilities of getting power, you know, there's lines down, what do? You know, we NRGs is working everywhere. We can't depend on them to keep our power and our station and our residents safe. We can rent the generator, but I'll tell you what, in the middle of a disaster, guess what the first person that everybody's gonna do? They're gonna call for a generator. Your power goes out, you got a refrigerator full of food, what do? You're gonna run to the local big box store and buy a generator. We can't do that here. We don't have the power to raise one door with a generator. You know, we've got radios in all the rigs that depend on batteries. We have medications in our ambulances. We have the rigs themselves that run on power. We need those to have charged, ready to go. It's embarrassing when other departments, we have to call mutual aid because we can't get out of our station in a storm. Trees are down, wires are down, they're calling us. And for residents here, you're depending on us to show up and help you guys out. And we can't do that because we're stuck. We have key fobs to get in the station that runs on batteries too. Maybe in an hour, if there's no power, we can't get in the station then. You know, even to refill our air bottles, that runs on power too. You know, we get a big fire, we need to have that. As firefighters, we rely on that to keep us alive and keep everybody going. The station itself, it's falling apart. There's areas where the floors are sinking, the walls are cracking, sometimes the roof leaks. I know it's a big project to get this going, but as somebody that's committed to this department, to the residents, I don't live in the town, but I'm here helping everybody because that's what I want to do. I give back where I can. I want to know when a pager goes off to go on a call that I'll be able to get a garage door up, and it's safety. You know, how many, firefighters get injured a lot on a scene, throw out a knee, throw out a back, lifting up a garage door, having to use equipment off the trucks to get those doors open and to keep them open and prop them up. It's dangerous, it really is. In the response times, Cassie said she lives 15, 20 minutes away. That's on a sunny day and 80 degrees. Last night we had 2 inches of snow. It could take us 22 minutes just to get to the station. It could take us 15 minutes to get to the station. It could take us 6 minutes to get to the station. Now you throw weather on there, you just double, triple that. If there's 10 inches of snow, we have to bury our cars out of our garage or out of our driveway to get there. It's just added time, so the sleeping quarters, it makes sense. I know I'm biased because I'm a member of the department, and going into recruiting as Cassie was doing, a lot of us are approached by different departments, but our commitment is here. We invest a lot of money in the members and the cadets and the members, sending them through school, and we pay for them to go through school, and if they want to go to another department, it's their advantage, I guess. If we can keep the people here, why not? We're all here to help, we're all here as one, as a whole, as a department, to serve the public, to serve the town of Waukesha, to serve the board members. I've been on the other side of the spectrum before. It's no fun waiting. You call for an ambulance or for a fire truck, your house is on fire, you got a car accident, you want somebody to be there. And hours, minutes seem like hours, believe me, I know that. I know that driving to the station for a call. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for your comments and for your commitment and dedication to the town of Waukesha. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, who else would like to speak? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Stuart Colton, Assistant Chief for the Town of Waukesha Fire Department. I'm going to take a time travel back in time. 1979 to 2000, I was chief. Prior to that, all the other chiefs, as well as myself, had to file every annual meeting a 10 to 20, or between a 10 to 20 year plan for what we expected of the department. And I believe Dan also had to do that, and still does have to do that. But where the plans went that we submitted back in those times, I don't know where they went. Nobody seems to know. And on the other hand, when Mr. Dorr was talking about it takes money, it does take money. And I've been on the department 40 years, and probably the last 3 town boards, I was really disgusted with the support we got from them. It was really a kick in the shorts. I'm not here to do it for the money. I'm here because I want to do it, and I want to help the people. So those town boards, it is nice to keep the tax levy low, but sometimes you got to raise the taxes a little bit. And I think the people of the town would agree that they would pay a little more, raise them a couple more % if they're getting something for it. I think that's what we got to do. Just keeping the tax levy as low as we can, yeah, it looks good. And that's what everybody runs on when they're running for office. But we can't continue like that. You got to start doing something for the town. I don't know, that's the only way we're going to get the money to do it. And as far as the sleeping quarters, I would suggest that some of you people take a ride around the area to neighboring municipalities that have sleeping quarters. I heard rumors that somebody said sleeping quarters wouldn't do us any good. It wouldn't increase or decrease our response times, having people in the station. Well, I beg to differ. Like I said, if you take a ride around to Wales, Delafield, or town of Delafield, Vernon, you're gonna find out different. Having that staffing there, you're out the door in a couple of minutes. And I agree with Gloria, if somebody's having a life-threatening emergency, or your house is on fire, you're gonna want somebody there. And I'll agree with the response times, because a lot of times I'll go direct, and I'll be there waiting for equipment to come, and who are they bitching at? They're bitching at me, because we're not there yet. I say, yes, the town needs garages for their trucks. It goes back to years prior. If we would have raised the taxes a little bit each year, we'd have had the money to do it. Normally when it comes to politics, I bite my tongue, but that's the way I feel. Thanks.
Thanks for your comments and for your many years of dedicated service to the town of Waukesha. Who's next?
Mr. Chairman,
Can we let Supervisor German go first, sir?
I don't agree with the 5-year plan on this. This is something that has to get done, because if we do end up with other board members or a different board, I mean, I don't understand why the previous boards haven't supported our DPW and our fire department the way they should, because they live in the town. Their town's residents.
Just a little.
Yeah, I don't think a 5-year plan, I think it's something that has to get done soon, within a year.
Okay, thank you. Come on forward. Did I shut somebody down? Who was going to speak? Come on up, sir. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
No problem. Wayne Wilkie, S45, W22650, Georgetown Place, Waukesha. From listening to his comments, I think you guys got to do something, okay? Forget consultants, forget 5-year plans, get some, buy a generator, because it makes good sense, and get some sleeping facilities for the fire department, because these people don't have to work here, okay? They can move, probably tomorrow, if you look at the way the jobs situation is. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Next. Good evening.
Good evening again.
Ken Hartwing, West 224, South 4372, Guthrie Road. You've got 5 acres over here, and we haven't built a fire department to take care of it? The boards in the past years must be as inadequate to help this town as you people sitting here now. We need a fire department process. This is ancient. And we've got the 5 acres to do it, and we haven't? You guys are sleeping on the job.
Thank you, sir. Who else would like to speak?
Gary Bork, West 238, South 5370, Chestnut Trail. Can we put on the agenda the generator concept and get that started? That's not gonna be $1 million.
I guess I'll just answer that question. Yes, we can do that. From my perspective, and part of the discussion we had, and before we conclude, I think we're gonna kind of a little bit run through this checklist and just kind of get the temperature of people. If we, and you could take a couple of approaches to it. You could say we don't have the time to waste or do it, get the generator and get it going, whether this is the fire station or public works. That could certainly be done. Could somebody argue and say, well, if we're looking at possibly building a new fire station, to me it's inconceivable if we were to build a new fire station that would have emergency generator. I mean, I think that's an absolute given. I can't imagine anybody would argue against it. Might you be able to say, then if that were the direction to go, the needs, the capacity which you need to hook up to it on the emergency generator, would it be different or not? I mean, that's a discussion that people could have.
Right.
That make any sense?
Sure. And you've got Generac here that I'm surely will help you guys out.
We do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Or anybody from the board while we're waiting for people to come up.
I'll make one last trip. Sandy Hamm, West 230 South 3827 Milky Way Road. I've listened to a lot of the comments, and I've got a mess of notes here, and I just wanted to address a couple of them. Somebody mentioned, I'm not sure who it was, look at the town, it's going to be growing, and we're going to need more of whatever. And so, Kathy, I think you mentioned recently how many new houses we had in the last year or so, and I don't know what the projections are, but I'm interested in solid numbers on that. I'm not sure that percentage-wise, that the town is going to grow at leaps and bounds. And if we don't get village status, we might be losing residences as fast as we're gaining them. Let's see, I'll look through here. As far as the park is concerned, I have an unusual affinity and affection for the park, but I certainly would agree that the park could be used for, unless it's required for village status, I would put it to use for the town campus here. I'm not sure, it's a state law that you have to have at least liability insurance for your car. But I wonder how many people here have a generator. I have a generator, but I can't remember when the last time was I needed to use it. I actually have to do more maintenance on it to make sure it's working than actually use it. As far as getting a consultant, I would want to encourage you, if you had a consultant, to give them a limit for what you want them to be able to spend. Because otherwise they're going to come back with some extravagant plan that's not within the budget. I think you need to nail down some number when you send them off to make up what you want. Let's see here. Yeah, Brian mentioned $10,000 to $20,000 for a consultant. It seems like a drop in the bucket when you're talking about millions and millions of dollars. So I don't find that, any kind of resistance to spending that money. I think it would be money well spent. And I'm interested in people having some numbers. Act 67 talks about substantial evidence. There's a lot of comments made about, this or that happening, but nobody presents actual numbers of that. And while I was sitting there, I did look up some stories on the shortage of volunteer firefighters nationwide. It is a problem, not just in our town, but in a lot of towns. And there are various reasons for that, but you know, whether or not, I mean, one of them has been evidenced here, which is, you know, people are living somewhere else, not in the community that they're working for, and this is a job that, you know, sort of requires that you be on site. So I certainly understand that. And then Assistant Chief Buchholz mentioned, you know, raising taxes to get this done. And unless I'm mistaken, there are some limits as to what a township can assess as their taxes. And so unless you did borrowing, or maybe there's a way to do a referendum, but otherwise you have to stay within your levy limits. And that would mean, so if you're gonna prioritize a couple $1 million to whip up a firehouse, that then you would have to take that money from, whether it's roads or police or whatever else you're spending money on. You can't just raise taxes anymore. There's a state restriction on that. So, you know, I don't know if you have the numbers, Kathy, on, you know, what you think is the growth, but I don't think that the town is growing leaps and bounds where, you know, like the fire department is going to, or any of our services, whether it's snow plowing or whatever. I don't think however many tons of salt we buy into 2020 is going to be, you know, hugely different in 2030. So anyway, thank you so much, and I'll hold my comments till the next item.
Just a couple of real quick comments, and maybe others want to jump in, and maybe others can help me in terms of growth, not in terms of residences or houses or structures. Number that sticks in my mind, I thought that, and I'm thinking this is maybe 2010 census, number sticks in my mind is like 9,133. Does that ring true for anybody, town residents? And we're not talking 9,300 some residents or something currently. What is the basis of that? Do you know, or do you remember where does that come from?
It comes from the projections of population come from the Department of Administration, and they use the base census numbers and then quantify growth throughout the tenure. So we're in the process of starting our census, which is what I mentioned earlier. So we'll get true numbers shortly to start out again. We have not seen any real growth, large growth in the last 5 years that I've been here.
So I don't know how accurate that is, but maybe it's been a couple hundred people, maybe it's 250, 300 people in 10 years. I mean, we'll know better on that soon. One other thing that I think would be helpful, and maybe this ties into what Supervisor German was saying, when we went down the path with Angus Young in the spring of 2017, which is soon 3 years ago, and Chief Buchholz might even be able to jump into that. We had a program statement, if you will. I think that was on my mind's eye. I'm looking at something that was a page and a half of paper or something, but basically defined needs in terms of number of sleeping rooms and bathrooms or whatever, that type of thing. I think that might be a place, Supervisor German, for the board to start. I mean, if we had a consultant, we've got to give them enough definition or direction. Same thing even with public works needs, Supervisor. I mean, we looked at that before, but we need to give somebody some kind of an idea or scope of what we're looking at. Not necessarily, I mean, we can give them a monetary scope or wish, but we need to tell them, and no different like if you're building a house, is it 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, what are you looking to do? I think we could work on scope of that so we had something intelligent to give to somebody. That's just a thought on that. Okay, what else? Who's next? That is to be, but if we put that on the agenda for the 27th, is that everybody on the board amenable to that as a next step? Okay, go ahead.
Just one more comment for the housing situation. Just to paint another picture, you got somebody coming out of high school, you got somebody coming out of college. They don't live in the town. There's no apartments in the town for them to stay in. Where are they gonna stay? They can't afford $1,000 a month in an apartment in the city. That's just another reason why they don't have the money to get going, to get on their feet, but they wanna do a good thing, but they don't have a place to stay.